Hey everyone, thanks for checking it out in another Edward Jones Chatting Cage. I'm Tim McMaster. Joining us in the cage today, we have Travis Shaw of the Milwaukee Brewers. Travis, as the planes fly overhead at Citi Field, thanks for joining us in the Chatting Cage.
Yep, no problem, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, fans, you know how to get involved. You can use the hashtag Chatting Cage on Twitter, use the MLB Fans app, or press the Get in Line button and join us yourself and join Travis and ask your own questions. We're going to start on social media. And Travis, Double Play Ray wants to know, who was your favorite player growing up and why?
My favorite player growing up was probably Alex Rodriguez, especially when he was in Texas. That's kind of when I first started watching baseball quite a bit on TV, and just his stretch in Texas was unlike any other. And then he obviously goes over to the Yankees, and Alex was somebody that I always really enjoyed watching.
And your careers briefly intersected, obviously, the last couple of years there for Alex Rodriguez as well. We have a fan ready to go here and ask his own question. Fan, tell us your name, where you're from, and go ahead with your question for Travis.
Hey, I'm Simon from Michigan, and my question is, how did you get the nickname Mayor of Ding Dong City?
That nickname came from actually Jared Carabas. He's a blogger up in Boston. He does a lot of stuff on the blogging page. He works for Barstool up there. And then in 2015, when I got called up, went through a stretch where I hit quite a few home runs in a short period of time. And he said it on Twitter, and the fans kind of took off with it after that.
We had a lot of questions about the mayor of Ding Dong City. That was a popular one. Glad one of the live fans got in there with the question, Travis. We go back to social media, the MLB Fans app, and Matt Holtzman27 wants to know, in a home run derby, who would win between yourself, Eric Thames, Ryan Braun, Domingo Santana, or Jeff Bandy?
I'm probably going to go with either Ryan Braun or myself. I think I could beat the other guys in that competition. I think our order would be Braun number 1, me and Thames 2, 3, either interchangeable, and then Jet and Domingo.
I like the full ranking there. Not afraid to
top 5.
Yeah, well, all power hitters.
I think Domingo finished last. He's a more in-game power than he has BP power.
All right, well, fair enough, and that's obviously where it counts. We have another fan ready to go here, Travis. Go ahead, tell us your name, where you're from, and ask your question for Travis Shaw.
Hi, I'm Staff Sergeant Joshua Bryant. I'm in San Diego, California. With all the traveling that you do, and that you've done like I've done, what's your favorite town, and what do you like to do with that town?
New York's always really fun. I mean, there's so much to do. You never run out of things to do in New York. It's always fun to come to New York for a few days. My favorite stadium is, honestly, it's probably San Diego. San Diego is perfect. It's paradise out there. But if you're looking for a full town experience, it's hard to beat New York.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's where you are now, hopefully enjoying the time in the big city, obviously in Queens out there at Citi Field as we do this Chatting Cage. This is the Edward Jones Chatting Cage, a chance for you, the fan, to ask questions of your favorite players, and we have another fan ready to go. Tell us your name, where you're from, and ask your question for Travis.
I'm Nathan from South Dakota, and I was wondering if you have any pre-game or post-game rituals that you do before every single game.
Not really. I mean, just your standard getting ready. I don't eat a certain meal before every game like some guys do. I try to stay out of all those superstitions as much as I can. I mean, there's a couple. You hit in the cage, you stretch at the same time every single day before the game, but I try to stay away from superstitions as much as I can.
Time now for our EDJ question of the day. The question today is, what do you think's been the biggest change about playing in Milwaukee after starting your career off in Boston?
The media market. I mean, everybody hears about how big of a media market in Boston is, and you come over here and it's nothing even close to what it was out there. The media attention's not as much over here. It's way more laid back. So that's obviously the biggest difference.
All right, and going straight from that and your history in Boston, obviously the Cavs just knocked the Celtics out of the playoffs, and I know you're a big Cavs fan, and we have a question about the finals. Brew Crew Fan 5 wants to know, any predictions, Travis, for the NBA Finals?
If you'd asked me last week, I probably would have picked the Warriors, but the more I've thought about it, I gotta go Cavs in 7. I think the Cavs will be able to pull it off, and if it gets to a Game 7, you can't go against LeBron in a closeout game. So I'm gonna stick with my heart and go Cavs in 7.
And obviously, this is kind of the tiebreaker. They've played 3 years in a row. Each team has a title. We'll see who can win it. We'll see if Believeland can come through again here in 2017. Yep. This is the Edward Jones Chatting Cage, and we have another fan ready to go in the cage. Go ahead, tell us your name, where you're from, and ask your question for Travis.
Hi, Travis. My name is Andrew. I currently live in San Diego, California. And my question for you today is, what inspired you to play baseball?
I grew up around the game. My dad was a big league pitcher for 10 years. Ever since he retired and I went home and got into high school, baseball was always my thing. So I grew up around the game, and it's something that I always wanted to do as a kid. And thankfully I had the skills to keep going to the next level, and here I am now.
You mentioned your dad, Travis, a two-time All-Star player in Major League Baseball, and Phil Martin on Twitter wants to know, how much did you get to hit against your dad growing up?
Oh, all the time. He continues to throw to me to this day, especially in the off season. He's still got his arms still in shape enough to throw. So, in high school, batting practice everywhere. I've grown up to him throwing to me, and it still continues to this day.
Pretty cool. Good stuff. Staying on Twitter, Fine Cheddar wants to know, we mentioned Eric Thames, and you said you do well in a home run derby against him, but Fine Cheddar wants to know, Eric Thames has been one of the season's really big stories so far. Did you see any of this success coming back in spring training when you started playing with him?
It was hard to tell in spring training. Everybody's just kind of feeling each other out. He took a little bit to get going in spring training, and then towards the end he got hot a little bit. But I don't think anybody would say that they expected him to come out and hit 11 home runs in April and just go on the tear that he did. But it's been huge for our team, and he broke out of his little mini slump last night. So we're hoping to get him back to April form from here on out.
Yeah, nobody in baseball was hotter than Eric Thames back in April, and a big reason why, along with yourself, the Milwaukee Brewers got off to such a great start to the season in 2017. Back to the MLB fan. We have a fan ready to go right here. Travis, if you can just go ahead, tell us your name, where you're from, and ask your question for Travis.
Hey, my name's Ethan from Cincinnati, and I wanted to know what your favorite childhood baseball moment was growing up.
Me personally was, probably growing up was when I was on the field for the 2001 home run derby, in Seattle. My dad was an all-star. That was his last year there. And I was one of the little kids running around the outfield and in the all-star game and during the home run derby. And that was probably the coolest experience of my young childhood baseball career.
All right, we go back to social media, and Trax Jax wants to know, Travis, you're on track for a career year, still young in your career, obviously, but what change would you say is most responsible for your success so far this season?
I think it's just experience. Another year into the game. I learned a lot the second half of the season through my struggles on what I needed to do to prepare every day to stay a little bit more consistent this year, and I think that's the key so far, is just another year of experience and kind of learning what I need to do on a day-in, day-out basis to stay ready every single day.
Great stuff, Travis. Thanks for taking some questions and taking some time for the fans here in the Edward Jones Chatting Cage.
Yep, no problem. Thanks for the questions, guys.
That'll do it for another edition of the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. Make sure you tune in again next time.